All right. Well, let me see. I'm going to go ahead and see if Danielle is here for us to
I
talk
saw her
to.
here earlier.
She is. I'm going to bring her up for you guys all to get to meet. So whenever you're ready, Danielle, we are here to chat with you.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
And good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
We're good. We're glad to be here. This is very exciting.
Very exciting. I'm so glad to be a part of this. Thank you guys so much for organizing it. I think it's so fun to bring online and have people, be able to access this from their homes. I think it's great.
Cool. Great. Well, we're going to turn off our cameras and let you do your thing. So everyone, this is Danielle.
Hi, guys. Like they mentioned, my name is Dr. Danielle Ayers. I am one of the chiropractors at Devine Chiropractic. We are over in Beaverton around Raleigh Hills area. A good landmark is, if you know where Jesuit High School is, we're a block away from that. So there's two doctors in our practice. It's myself and then also the owner of the practice, Dr. Jeff Devine. And we're both certified in Webster's technique, which is a great technique to use during pregnancy. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about what that is and why somebody might need to see a chiropractor while they're pregnant. We see everyone in our office, so we're not pregnancy prenatal specific, but we both have hundreds of hours of extra training, and a huge part of my practice is pregnancy. So I love taking care of pregnant women and helping them throughout their entire prenatal journey. So why would you need to see a chiropractor while you're pregnant? I wanted to screen share for a second and let's see if I can figure this out. So some of the benefits of seeing a chiropractor during pregnancy are decreased need for outside intervention during the birthing process and optimal position of the baby during pregnancy. I love that Carol went ahead of me because she was talking about very similar things that I'm going to be talking about too, which is just making space in your body for a baby. And when you think about chiropractic care, you might think of low back pain, sciatic pain, and women who are pregnant, about 50% of them report having back pain at some point during that pregnancy, and that's not fun. So that's something we can definitely help out with as well. A lot of headaches, migraines, those are awesome reasons to see a chiropractor, as well as making sure that you have proper alignment of your pelvis. So all of those things combined, we see that it leads to shorter delivery time as well. And they recently did a study and showed that women who are under regular chiropractic care during pregnancy report about 31% shorter labor times. And who wouldn't want that? So I want to talk to you a little bit about, how and why and what is Webster's. Webster's technique, you may have heard from your midwife or doula or other providers during pregnancy, and it's often touted as a baby turning technique. And I wanted to give you a little bit more information that's not the entire picture. So I wanted to give you some resources about what is Webster's technique, do I need it, how can it help? So Webster's technique is a specific chiropractic analysis and adjustment that reduces the interference to the nerve system and balances the maternal pelvic muscles and ligaments. This optimizes uterine function and allows for a safer, easier birth. So it's not necessarily about turning babies. It's about allowing more space in your pelvis, allowing more connection between your nervous system and all the structures in your pelvis, your uterus, all the things that need to work properly in order for a safe, easy birth to happen. So while we're looking more specifically at the structure of your pelvis and not necessarily turning the baby, it is really effective at getting baby head down and into that proper position. 2012 study showed that out of 81 pregnant women who had abnormal fetal positioning and were under chiropractic care, 70% reported that baby ended up head down and in the proper, they call it vertex positioning, to make labor easy and allow baby to come out the way it's supposed to come out. So it's really effective at doing that, and it helps decrease the amount of misalignment in your pelvis. And we kind of look at 3 different things in Webster's technique, and I wanted to go over them with you. We call them the 3 P's. So there's 3 P's: passenger, passage, and power. And when we talk about the passage, I'm talking about the way that the baby comes through out to the world, the passage from uterus to world. And it's really important that everything is ideal for the passage to be optimal for baby to come out. I'm gonna screen share again and show you a little bit closer. I'm a visual person, so I needed to make a slideshow for you guys. So here's your pelvis. And this, graphic is there's a lot going on, but let me break it down for you a little bit more simply. Your pelvis has 2 bones like this, and they kind of move as you walk, and they form what's called the pelvic outlet. So that's the hole that your baby needs to go head through in order to descend down the birth canal and come out into the world. And what can happen is if there's any sort of misalignment in your pelvis, normally you have a giant hole like this that's perfectly sized for your baby's head to come through. However, if there's any misalignment in the pelvis, you can see that if we go from a hole like this to a hole like this, it changes the diameter and it makes it a lot harder for baby to go through. It makes the passage smaller. So I see a lot of the times that, if there's stalled labor, it might be because of a sacral misalignment, in your entire pelvis. And so it's really important to get checked by a chiropractor during pregnancy, especially one who's certified in Webster's technique, to analyze how your sacrum might be misaligned and get it back into its proper positioning. We're doing a lot of sitting right now with everything that's going on. So, women who are pregnant right now, I encourage you to make sure you're still getting checked for pelvic misalignment, and make sure that everything is where it needs to be. Sitting is not ideal on the pregnant pelvis. So we're making sure that everything's moving properly for sure. Another thing that happens later in pregnancy is your body will produce a lot more of a hormone called relaxin. And this is great because it relaxes the ligaments that connect the bones and help make that pelvic outlet bigger. But what it also can do is create a little bit more instability in the pelvis and make things move around a little bit more than we want them to. So again, really important to make sure everything's where it needs to be to create space for the baby, so that everything can go how it needs to go. We talked about the first P, passenger or passage. Now I want to talk about passenger. So that's your baby, and how your baby sits in your body is really important as well. So this infographic, the little graphic here, is great to kind of see all the ligaments that connect from your uterus to your sacrum. And any kind of torsion in the sacrum, a little bit of misalignment in the sacrum, can put more pull on those ligaments as well. And that can kind of pull the uterus to one side or another, making baby kind of turn to one side of your pelvis or another. So it's really important to reduce the tension on those ligaments and on those tendons to help everything relax and be in the proper positioning to allow that passenger to find its ideal spot in your pelvis, so that it can connect and start labor normally when it's ready to. The third P that I talked about, so we did passage, passenger, and now I want to talk about power. So when we talk about power, this is the power of your uterus to push baby through the vaginal canal. And so many things have to happen properly for birth to work. It's like a whole symphony of activities that need to be really well coordinated. And if timing's off, if the communication isn't there, it can delay labor, make things harder to start. And so we have this connection from our brain to every cell in our body, and your brain communicates with your body through your nervous system. So communication happens on your nerves, and your nerves come out along your spinal cord. So any sort of misalignment in the spinal column, in the vertebrae, the little bones that protect your spinal cord, can put tension on the nerves that come out in that area. And I like to think that they kind of like put static on the line. So they interfere with the way that your brain and your body are communicating. And if there's an issue with the communication between your brain and your uterus, it can lead to things like your uterus not contracting as powerfully as it needs to, not getting as much message as it needs to, causing weaker contractions or ineffective contractions, as well as it can, have too much message. Maybe the message is a little bit more intense than it needs to be. And that can cause more painful contractions, more intense contractions. So my job as a chiropractor is to make sure that your structure is supporting your nervous system, allowing your brain and body to communicate at its optimum potential. So that's a little bit about how chiropractic care can help with pregnancy and how Webster's work. We're looking for all those different components to be working properly in order to allow you the safest, most effective birth possible. So we're open still. We are essential healthcare, and we're limiting hours. We're following all of the recommendations, but it is essential to have these structures checked and to make sure that everything's working properly. So we're happy to support you. We're here for you. And I'm happy to be a resource for anyone who is wondering if chiropractic care is a good fit for them, wondering if Webster's technique is something that could support them a little bit more during their pregnancy. Like I said, if you're having low back pain, if you or someone you know is having round ligament pain, that's one of the ligaments that connects from your sacrum to your uterus. If you're feeling like some twinges in your lower abdomen, that might be because the ligament is a little bit tighter than it needs to be. And that's something that we're trained and really well versed in taking care of. So those are some ways that we can support you going forward. And I want to make this really accessible for people as well. And so if you give a call to our office, we're happy to, look at the schedule, help you find a time to come in, and happy to offer for $25. We can do an exam, a consultation, and I'll put together my best recommendations for care going forward for you as well. So give a call to our office and let them know that you heard us on Parent Trip, and we're happy to honor that entire process for $25. We're so thankful to be a part of this Parent Trip group and to connect with all of these awesome providers. I love what you guys are doing, and I'm so grateful that we can be a part of it.
Thank you for joining us today. That was super great. When you started talking about the 3 Ps, I was like, I'm a doula. I know what those are. I know
You
the
know
Ps.
it, yes.
I see that we have a question here in the chat from Gregory asking if Devine takes insurance.
We do work with insurance. We work differently with different kinds of insurance. So I'm not, entirely sure what your insurance is or what kind of coverage you have, but give a call to our office and we're happy to look into it for you.
Great, cool. If anybody has any other questions for Danielle, this is your last chance. We're getting ready to move on to talk to Erin from Solstice Acupuncture. I'm checking all the boxes, see if anybody has anything. I think we're looking good. Thank you so much for joining us today, Danielle.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Should I pull this card up, Olivia?
Yes, please.